Some stories are about victory, some are about tragedy. But the ones that really stick with you, the legendary ones, they're about both. This is one of those stories. It's about a machine born from total desperation, engineered by absolute geniuses and destined for greatness, right before it became the ghost of a championship that just vanished into thin air. This is the story of the Ford RS200.
And that's the key right there. It was built to compete in Group B. So what was Group B? Well, it was a rally category so fast, so powerful, and ultimately so deadly that they had no choice but to destroy it.
I mean, just look at this thing. That doesn't look like a normal car. It looks like a weapon. It's a purpose-built, mid-engine, all-wheel drive monster, all wrapped up in this feather-light composite body. And every single piece of it was designed for one thing and one thing only, to go out there and conquer the pure chaos of Group B rally.
But here's the twist. This incredible weapon wasn't born from a place of strength. No, it was born because Ford, one of the undisputed kings of rallying, was losing, and losing badly.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Back in 1982, the governing body of racing, the FIA, came up with this thing called Group B. And the rulebook was, well, there basically wasn't one. All a car maker had to do was build and sell 200 road-legal versions of their car. That's it. Once they did that, they could unleash a completely unhinged, fire-breathing race car on the world. It was an era of just pure, unrestricted madness.
So while Audi was out there totally changing the game with its revolutionary Quattro all-wheel drive system, Ford was stuck in the past. Their new project, the Escort RS1700T, was rear-wheel drive. I mean, on slippery gravel and ice, it stood absolutely no chance. The car was obsolete before it even turned a wheel. Ford was just being left in the dust.
So in 1983, they made a really tough call. They killed the project, just wrote off all the costs. And then, with what was basically a blank check, they decided to build a no-compromises machine right from the ground up.
So, how do you build the world's most advanced rally car from absolutely nothing and do it fast? Well, you don't call up car designers. You call Formula One legends.
Ford went out and hired Tony Southgate, a celebrated F1 chassis designer, and John Wheeler, a former F1 engineer. And get this, they weren't asked to just modify a road car. Oh no, they were asked to build a pure race car that could, just barely, be considered road legal.
And you can see that commitment right here in Ford's own press release. Their official plan called for a no-compromise machine. And the chassis they came up with? It was pure F1 tech. It wasn't steel, it was a bonded aluminum honeycomb core, kind of like an airplane wing, all wrapped in a body made of carbon fiber and Kevlar. Incredibly light and unbelievably strong.
But here is where the genius really kicks in. To get the weight distribution just perfect, they put the engine right in the middle of the car, but they put the gearbox way up at the front. Think about that. The power had to travel from the engine all the way forward to the gearbox and then get sent back again to the rear wheels. It was wildly complex, but it was absolutely brilliant.
And what was the result? A perfect 50-50 weight balance. That, plus 3 advanced limited slip differentials, one at the front, one in the center, and one at the rear, gave the RS200 what a lot of its rivals called the best, most balanced handling of any car in Group B. The driver could literally just dial in how much power went to which wheels for any surface they were on.
Now, all that perfect balance needed some serious power to go with it. And the power? Oh, it had power. A 1.8-liter turbocharged Cosworth engine pushing out a massive 450 horsepower in its race setup. All of that in a car that weighed just a little over 1,000 kilograms. The power-to-weight ratio was just insane.
So, the weapon was designed and ready to go. But before they could actually race it, they had to build those 200 road cars. And the clock was seriously ticking.
The pressure on the team was just immense. Production was hit with delay after delay. It all came down to the wire. The team at the factory, they finished the very last car just one single day before the FIA inspectors arrived on January 31st, 1986. Talk about cutting it close. They made it, but just barely.
And you know what? The payoff was immediate. The car's first ever World Rally Championship event was the 1986 Swedish Rally. On that treacherous ice and snow, a surface where all-wheel drive is everything, Kalle Grundle drove that RS200 to a stunning third-place finish. The gamble had worked. The F1 tech, the perfect balance, it was a winning formula. The RS200 had arrived.
But just as this car's star was beginning to rise, the entire world of Group B was about to come crashing down. And tragically, the RS200 would be right at the center of it all. I mean, what happens when cars become so fast that humans can't really control them and the crowds get way too close to the action? You get a catastrophe.
At the very next rally, in Portugal, a local driver named Joaquim Santos came flying over a crest in his RS200, going well over 100 miles per hour. A spectator just stepped into the road. Santos swerved to avoid hitting him, lost control, and the car plowed into the huge, completely unprotected crowd that was lining the stage. The result was just devastating. And it was the last straw. This accident, it was the catalyst for the end. The drivers protested, the teams pulled out, and the FIA finally knew it had lost complete control.
Just 2 rallies later, when the star driver Henri Toivonen and his co-driver were tragically killed in their Lancia, the fate of Group B was sealed for good. In May of 1986, the FIA announced that the class would be abolished at the end of the season. After just 4 insane years, the party was over. So Ford's ultimate weapon had only just shown up to the fight. And now, all of a sudden, the war was over. But the story of the RS200's incredible performance? That was far from finished.
See, Ford had already developed an even more powerful version for the 1987 season. They called it the Evolution spec. Its 2.1-liter engine was reportedly capable of producing up to a truly mind-bending 815 horsepower. This was the car that was never allowed to compete.
So just how fast was it? Well, get this. One of these Evolution models, back in 1986, set a Guinness World Record for accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.07 seconds. On tarmac, with 1980s tire technology. That record stood for an astonishing 12 years, cementing the RS200's legacy as one of the fastest accelerating cars ever built. Period.
So in the end, the RS200 remains a ghost, a champion that never really got its crown. It had the F1 pedigree, it had that perfect balance, and it had earth-shattering power. Was it the greatest rally car that never was? We'll never know for sure. But its story is this chilling reminder of an era when speed was everything, even when it came at the ultimate price.